All right, guys, time to talk about the worst versions of the Flash and Superboy that were introduced at the beginning of the New 52 as a part of the Teen Titans. That's right. There are versions of Flash and Superboy that you don't know exist, and they are not Barry Allen. They are not Connor. They're not the ones you want. They just existed for a few years, and they were quietly removed from continuity. Now, let's start off with who the character known as Kid Flash in the New 52 was. Basically, Bartor. Here's his origins. In the 30th century, the city known as Ultros Prime ruled beneath the iron fist of the Functionary. Agents of the Functionary, known as the Purifiers, cut through the city, and young Bartor's parents were killed. Alone, he was forced to raise his sister in this dark future. Yet for reasons that probably made sense to a writer or editor at DC Comics, Bartor joins the Purifiers, while also becoming a smuggler on the side, because reasons. During one of his missions, Bartor crashes his spacecraft. After awakening, he discovers that his wounds have healed and that he can now move at super speed, because that's how origins work. No rhyme or reason behind them. A group of Purifiers arrive to retrieve his lost cargo, and Bartor uses his new powers to destroy them. With his super speed, he began to quickly dismantle the Purifier organization at home. Now that he betrayed his organization, Bartor began to lead a rebellion that would fight against the Purifiers and the Functionality as a whole. However, during that battle, Bartor came across his wounded sister, who would become a soldier of the Functionality. Once again, Bartor switches sides because this probably made sense to some writer or editor over at DC Comics. And once again, working for the Functionality, Bartor began to fight against and wipe out the rebellion that he had created. Afraid that people would turn against him, the Functionality put him into witness protection, which meant that they would have to send him back in time, because that's how witness protection works. And if that's a project that exists in the real world, I would like to travel back in time. I'll commit a crime and you can send me back. Anyway, they wiped his memories and they dropped them off in the past, conveniently at the beginning of the New 52. So in the present day, this Bartor took up the identity of Bart Allen. Since he had super speed, Bart assumed that he was related to the present-day Flash, because of course. Bart took the name Kid Flash and ended up joining the Teen Titans after he was brought in by the New 52 Red Robin. It was then discovered that Bart was from the future and that he was in no way related to Barry Allen, and he also learned that his powers did not come from the Speed Force, like how the present Flash gets his powers. Despite the fact that he shares all the same powers as Barry Allen and Wally West, including the lightning that comes off of his body when he runs, Bart, in fact, had no link to the Speed Force, and it's never fully explained where his super speed comes from. Maybe they intended to explain it later on when they were going to do the big reveal that he's from the future, but whatever. Like many changes during the New 52, Bartor has seemed to have been forgotten, though he might still be running around with Kon-El, a clone of a possible son of Superman from the future, which was probably a good idea to some writer and editor over at DC Comics at the time. All right, so let's dive into probably the worst version of Superboy. During the New 52, Kon-El was not a clone of Superman and Lex, as the original Connor Kent was from the Death of Superman and Reign of Superman story arcs back in the 90s. Kon-El was the clone of Jonathan Lane Kent, which was a possible future timeline in which Superman had a son with Lois. However, it's believed that that son died, yet he was actually taken in and cured by a time-traveling villain known as Harvest. Harvest raised the boy and used him as a weapon to destroy the metahumans of this possible future. So Kon-El is actually cloned from this alternate reality Jonathan Kent and an unknown human by the organization known as Nowhere. He's awakened and used as a weapon against the metahumans of the world. And after he defeats some of the Teen Titans, Kon-El realizes what Nowhere is doing and decides to go rogue against them, kind of following along with the original Connor Kent storylines. Eventually, he's convinced to join the Teen Titans by Red Robin, and together they fight against Harvest. And along the way, Superboy does meet Supergirl, who considers him to be an abomination, since Krypton has actually outlawed clones before it was destroyed. Eventually, Superboy would meet Superman when the Kryptonian scientist Hel arrived on Earth, attempting to preserve Krypton's way of life. After Superman saved his life, Superboy attempted to help in a battle against Hel, but he was severely wounded. In the Forever Evil story arc, Superboy is then thrown into the time stream with the rest of the Titans by Johnny Quick. They fall into an alternate future where Kon-El learns the truth about the evil Superboy that he is cloned from. And the two fight, and Kon-El's lost in the time stream, and you would think he's never heard from again, but he seemingly pops up during another weird arc in Supergirl that was like almost like a Hogwarts situation. It was like she went to space and was in a school where people with powers, and they basically wanted to copy Harry Potter at the time. And she sees Con-El, but we don't get anything from that because pretty much right after that, they canceled the Supergirl book. It went into hiatus, and then it didn't come back until Rebirth, and we just forgot Con-El showed up in that one. Much like the original Connor Kent, Con-El shares much of the same superpowers. He has a limited range of super speed, super strength, and durability due to his Kryptonian DNA. However, it is nowhere near the level of Superman. He's also able to fly and use heat vision. Alongside this, he has the power of telekinesis and telepathy, which are used to augment his regular power levels. So there you have it. 2 versions of Superboy and Kid Flash that are apparently still running around the DC universe and time stream somewhere. Maybe we'll see them again when someone remembers that they were created and they're the worst versions ever and we should do something with them. That'd be cool. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below other worst versions of your favorite superheroes that you want me to tell the world about, because I'm having a lot of fun discovering this, the Agent Venom in the cartoon show, and stuff like that. Either way, guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want to learn more about comics, the worst versions of your favorite characters, and the best versions. And I'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian.